Geez. And we're being recorded. That's amazing. So you can come back and watch this amazing learning anytime you want at night. Instead of watching like Netflix, you could watch this.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right?
I mean, come on now. We're a lot more entertaining.
Clearly. And I'm, yeah, it's Wednesday, right? Is that today, Wednesday? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right. We'll give everyone another minute or so to join, and then we'll jump right in. Again, the slide deck is at the bottom of the current slide you're looking at, the link to the slide deck.
One person is waiting. All right, for the sake of time, let's go ahead and get this party started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katie Marcoux, and I am a technology implementation specialist. And I'm here with my amazing teammate, Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff Luttrell. I work for Canvas, but I work only with Montgomery County Public Schools about all things Canvas, and it's a wonderful place to be. So.
And then we also have our teacher trainer in the background. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Terrence Mahoney. I teach at Hallie Wells, and I use Canvas for all my classes, and I love it.
Awesome. Cool. Let's get started then. So, sorry, I was like looking at the chat. I think that Bitly is correct. If it's not, by the end of it, we'll fix it. So I apologize. Everyone knows me. This is where we're building the ship and flying it and smiling all at the same time. So it's great. I'll go to the objective slide to talk about just the big pieces of today's session. So today we're going to look at how to use some consistent, clear communication practices to really reach out to students and parents and keep them in the loop of what happens online in our Canvas courses. We're going to talk about how we can use the calendar and the to-do list to help students keep their on top of things. Then we're going to spend some time with the inbox and talk about how to use that piece of the Canvas platform. And then one of my favorite features is the Message Students Who feature, and we'll talk about how that works and how it will save you so much time and headache. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about a really important piece, which is the whole submission kind of cycle when you assign an assignment, how students see it, how you see it, etc. So I think that's definitely a great benefit of today's resource or session offering. So use the chat that's at the bottom of your screen for kind of just-in-time questions. Terrence and Katie will be monitoring the chat, and if there's a question that needs a demo or we need to address because it's been asked a lot, we'll stop and we'll address that. And like the sessions this morning, this does have built-in time for you to practice some of the skills we're learning, but also know that my style is to kind of demo some things, but live in the slide deck when necessary, but know that all the things I'm demoing are referenced and linked with support guides in a slide deck that you'll have access to as well. So we'll kind of be flipping in and out of things, but we're gonna get lots of great things done today. So this is just another reminder about the resources and training and support that's available to you through Canvas and also the larger MCPS community. All these resources are linked on the blue global navigation bar. When you log into My MCPS Classroom, you'll see it. There's a resources folder. There's a link to the My MCPS Classroom resource course, which houses a whole bunch of training and resources really for all walks of life with Canvas. There's also links to the training calendar, or the training portal, excuse me, that house more like point and click kind of how-to tutorials. There are live sessions you can watch and attend, but there are also on-demand courses like how to build a quiz and all the question types in a quiz. There are trainings about that as well, which are free to MCPS teachers, and not every district has that. So definitely take advantage of those. And there's a link to the PD brochure there. And then last but not least is all the technical support that you have access to. There's a 24-hour phone and chat for you that you can have access to if you have a technical question about Canvas. So those are those resources. Let's start off with a little like, you know, kind of question to get our brains flowing. So thinking back to the spring and teaching online, or just even last year, previous years, if you've taught online within Canvas or any other platforms, what kinds of communication and feedback strategies did you use that you found successful when you were teaching online? And you can share your thoughts in the chat, and we'll just kind of get some high level, you know, ideas out there. And maybe if we see some consistent ones, we can verbalize those and see what works, what's worked for you when communicating and giving students feedback online. See SpeakGrader, see video feedback, emailing, calling students, announcements. Okay. Inbox. Yeah. So I see a lot of comments as well about like Google Classroom as a communication tool in general. And the feedback process and system that's in place in Google Classroom. So we're definitely going to spend some time talking about what that looks like in Canvas, because while it's slightly different, it's still the same end result. And I think you'll still be happy with the level of, I guess, like the power that you have when it comes to giving feedback to students and then resubmitting and things like that. So we'll definitely talk about some of those things. Yeah, so cool. Thank you all for sharing. All right, let's jump into kind of our first topic here. So we're going to go through this one pretty quickly because it's pretty general, and I think it's pretty easy to wrap our heads around. And it's the idea of creating announcements. Announcements, like the title here says, really should be used for those quick communication bits that you want to give out to your students and parents. They're not designed for, like, you know, I don't use them on a daily basis because I think that kind of defeats the purpose of an announcement. So an announcement should be something that you need to draw your users' attentions to pretty quickly. So think of them as maybe a weekly basis to get them oriented for the week that's ahead. Or if you have a change in assignment and you want everyone to be alerted to that change, that might be a good use of an announcement. But, you know, less is better in just-in-time communication with announcements. This slide here, I'm just gonna note that I'm gonna model how to make an announcement here in a second, but these are some screenshots with also a support guide linked. So announcements are great because unless you tell it to, it will instantly post. You can delay posting and tell it, I want it to be posted on this day at this time. If students and parents have their notification turned on, to be notified immediately when an announcement is made, they will get an email notification with the contents of that announcement. So that's super great to get their attention. We've also seen announcements be used to house, like, maybe your class link for your Zoom meeting, or maybe something's changed and like you have a long-term sub coming. Just think of it as like those just-in-time communications. Another important thing that I can quickly model is to put your announcements on your course homepage so that they're always in the students' and users' faces, right? It's right at the, it's right at the top of the homepage, and it allows for those announcements to stay at the front as you need them. So, all right, so let me get out of this view, maybe. Oh, there we go. And let's go to a course and create an announcement, right? So again, I'm gonna model the processes that are exactly explicitly stated in the slide deck for your reference when you go to do this yourself. So You're going to choose a course here. Let's talk about first how to create this recent announcements that appears on the top of your homepage here. So if you scroll down to your course settings, and then under course details here, you scroll all the way down. I hate that this is hidden because I feel like this should be a default. Click more options. And then the second option down here, it says show recent announcements on course homepage. You want to check that, and then you get to determine how many most recent announcements you want to show. So if you wanted just the most current one to be shown at the top, change it to 1. I think it defaults to 3 when you turn it on though. And then after you've decided what that is, just click update course details. And then at the top of your homepage, when there is an active announcement, you'll have the announcements listed right there at the top. And again, it's above whatever homepage you decide. So modules, a homepage like this, etc. So let's go make an announcement. Click on the announcements link. In Canvas, when you see a blue button, that means that's how you create new things. So click plus announcement. This is just our typical rich content editor here. So it's going to ask for a title. So maybe this is welcome to 2020-2021 school year. And maybe I want to have a welcome message for my students. So I can use any of the text tools that are here. If you've been in the trainings with me before, you know I like size 14 font. So welcome, I'll highlight that font for that text and change it to size 14 just to make it a little bigger and easier to see. And maybe I want to include a video message, a welcome from me, their teacher. So on the second row of the rich content editor, you have this great built-in record upload media tool. And basically what it does is it accesses your webcam and allows you to record a quick message. I like to tell people to keep these videos to about 1 minute to 3 minutes. If you go over that, that's fine. It just takes a little longer to process in terms of uploading to Canvas. And I think the point is to keep it short and to the point, right? Look at that, terrible. That's a great picture, Jeff, right there. It's a great screenshot. If I didn't like this, I could click the start over button. Otherwise, I'm just gonna click save. I look terrifying in that picture. That's bad. It's gonna process. I can add more things below this. I can add a picture. I can add whatever I want to. This is all the tools and functionalities of the rich content editor. I could add something from Google Drive, etc. It defaults to posting.
Jeff,
yeah.
It was asked if there could be closed captioning on those videos.
The answer is no. Currently, the answer is no. If you wanted to create a video externally, like in Screencastify or Zoom, and record yourself just talking in a Zoom room, those videos can be uploaded to YouTube. Closed captioning can be added, and then you can embed those videos into an announcement. So unfortunately, the way it's currently set up, these are not closed caption enabled. I always kind of say the way around that maybe is to type out below the video message what you said. That's just kind of, I mean, it doesn't go along with the way you're speaking, but you could hear, you could read along the message that you had said below. So kind of a nice workaround, or not an ideal workaround, but it's a workaround. Katie, we're gonna say something or no?
No, they just asked about Screencastify, and I was just gonna say that, yes, Screencastify's COVID-19 code is no longer active. But if you need something longer than 5 minutes, there are other screen recording applications, including Zoom. You could just create a Zoom and record it. But go ahead.
So it defaults to, under the post to section, it defaults to everyone in all sections in your course. And really this is only an issue, or this is only something to keep in mind for secondary teachers, because secondary teachers will have your separate class periods or your co-taught section or your English language learner section separately. So if you wanted to gear a message specifically to those sections or individual sections, you could identify those here and, as opposed to all, but for elementary, it's all is fine. It's going to default to that. So You can attach something if you want to. And the only other thing I'll say is this delay posting thing is a kind of a great tool. If I click save right now, it's going to post it immediately. Users would get a notification immediately. But let's say I'm working for the rest of the week in advance and I want this to be posted on Friday. You can click the delay posting button and I can select on the calendar, like I want this to go out Friday, and then I want to specify the time as 9 a.m. or whatever. So you have some flexibility if you're a pre-planner, like I know many teachers are, I was. So if I hit save now, it basically says like the content will be visible not until July 10th. So it's out there for you to see, but not others yet. And again, if you want to do it right now, just take out that delay posting and click save, and there it is. So if we go home now, we see there's my most recent announcement and my other one. So those are announcements. Pretty.
Hey, Jeff, quick question. Yeah. From the parent perspective, if they're not receiving the emails for announcements, can you just show them how the parents can adjust their notifications?
Yep. Yeah. And this is definitely something I think in all the sessions we've talked about, you need to set your notifications, but so do parents and students. And so I think in that first week of learning in the fall, I think it's really important to, in that first session, model to your students how to set notifications, and then even send an email to your parents to say, hey, check these notifications so that you can be automatically notified about them. I think the most important one, like you just said, is I think announcements to be notified right away. Maybe something with grading, right? If when they get a score attached to it. And then, I don't know, the rest is up to you. It's your preference. As you see, I have all the things turned off because I don't want any emails ever. So get enough of those anyway. So, but there is I think it's in the Getting Started course, the session, there is a guide that I've linked in there about the default notifications. So it shows you what notifications are set on and how they're set on if a user has never touched their notification preferences. So it's kind of nice to know that announcements is one that is defaulted to immediately be known. So so a parent has turned that off if they're not getting those notifications. So right, so that's announcements. Pretty quick and dirty. So in the interest of time, because again, I think announcements are pretty standard. Just know that in these courses, there's always a try it section, so you can go and try one of these things. Maybe we'll do just a minute for you to kind of like let that sink in, ask any additional questions about announcements, or go create an announcement just to test, just to apply what we just discussed. So I'll set a quick timer for a minute. I know it's not a lot, but we're recording these, and sometimes it's best to learn, practice as you go. So I'll set a timer right here on my beautiful phone. Let's do about a minute, and then we'll move on to the next piece. So if there are questions about announcements, put them in the chat. We can tackle that, and we'll have our minute of let it soak in. Kira, I'll answer your question verbally. You can't change the color of the module title, but you can add like emojis or colors, like a square green or something in the title of the module, so it appears in the text there, and it sets it apart that way. All right. Well, that was our minute. Let's jump right ahead. I saw a question about practice courses. If you don't have a Sandbox course, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, the best way is to email your staff development teacher or media specialist, and they'll create a practice course for you, a Sandbox course.
Yes. right now the process is we are referring people to their staff development teacher. If you're a school that is just getting on board with Canvas, with my MCPS classroom, your staff development teacher will likely not know. One thing to check is check your courses, all courses. You might have one already. So, so go ahead and check courses, and then there's a link that says all courses, and then you'll get an itemized list. So you're quite likely have a practice or a sandbox course in there.
Okay, thank you. All right, so calendar. Calendar and to-do lists is the next item. So these are really great tools, I think, that are sometimes underutilized when teaching online, both by teachers, but also by the students and parents. I think there's a lot of value in kind of having everything in one place across all your courses to see. Not only due dates, but also like other events or Zoom meetings and things like that. So here's what can appear on your calendar. And I apologize, I think there's going to be a dog barking soon. There's a vacuum in the hallway, and you know, dogs vacuums, they don't do that well. So this is what will appear on the course, or on your calendar, excuse me. Items, anything with the due date, an assignment, a graded discussion, a quiz, anything due date wise appears there automatically. Anything you schedule from the Zoom link in your course, there's like that course level link on the side that says Zoom. If you schedule a meeting from there, that automatically makes it the event with the link and the time and all that. Any manual events you create and any items you put on your to-do list, and I'll show you what that means here in a second. But those are the basic things that appear on a calendar. Let's go jump into a course now and look at the calendar so we can get a better idea. So calendar is here on our blue global navigation. And when we click on it, we're taken to, it defaults to a month view, but you can toggle that to week or the month view. I also really like this agenda view because it basically shows you, let me go to a week that has things on it. The agenda view is really nice because it shows you like a list format of things due. So that's nice for students, I think, more than anything, but parents too. But one thing to keep in mind is all of this is dependent on what's checked over here on the calendar's sidebar. So the only course I have checked right now is my Mr. Luttrell's third grade. So that's the only thing showing assignments or any events, anything right now. If I toggle on to my other courses, that's when the things start to get a little like flooded with things, with events. Everything's color coordinated. So this purple is that course, that's that assignment for that course. Everything else that's blue is that one, things like that. So that's kind of a key thing to keep in mind is that you can toggle those off and on, and the same goes for kids and the same goes for parents. You know, you can switch between views pretty easily here. You can also, as an instructor, so let's say this right here, this is an assignment. Oh, hold on, that's not an assignment. This is an assignment. This is an assignment here. If I click on the name of the assignment, it takes me directly to that assignment, which is kind of nice. And I think that's why it's a great tool of thinking about workflow. When we see these things here, or I see this class meeting link right here, that's a Zoom link that's been created because I used the Zoom integration and it's there right there, I can join.
Steph, I'm gonna jump in right because you mentioned Zoom. Somebody asked about where's the Zoom link. The left-hand navigation bar is your global navigation. That's your account. Your Zoom link or the Zoom integration is gonna be within a course. And so you can bring it up into, your navigation in your course, but it's not gonna appear on the blue navigation bar. When you think blue, think the whole world. That's your Canvas world. And then inside your classroom, inside your course, each course, you have course navigation.
Yeah, and mine, I think mine is set up correctly. So yeah, when this Zoom is here, when this Zoom is active and visible in your course navigation, I can schedule a meeting directly from here. And when the meeting is here, it appears not only here for students and me to click into, but a calendar event gets created automatically with that. So it's kind of a nice workflow. I will say that it's not always 100% perfect. I think there's been some reported issues about, well, I put the meeting here, but it's not in my calendar and vice versa. Just know that there are some hiccups with it, and it's a known issue for sure. So, all right, so back to calendar. What else did I want to touch on?
Yeah, Jeff, real
Yeah.
quick on the calendar, if there's a regular occurrence, like every Monday, there's like a quiz or something, is there a way to schedule something that occurs like 2 or 3 weeks in a row?
Yes, so if I open, that really only works for events you create. So like, I'll just make an event for today. Okay, so let's say this was, weekly quiz, minutes from today. So July, that is not a date, it is correct. 7/8/22, I don't know, 8,
That's
7.
the time.
Oh, thank you. I'm not gonna do a time then. Okay, so I'm gonna add it to a calendar. We do that first. Oh, it's really confused now. Come on, Jeff. Okay, more options. Oh, sorry, I have to make the event first. Quiz. This isn't, I guess the use case, if you make separate events, like it's better just to make a quiz each week that's separate, because one, the data is going to be clear as a teacher in that sense, because these events are really only like nebulous reminders. Think of them like that. They're not attached to anything. They're not attached to a quiz. They're not attached to an assignment. So if you wanted to say like submit reading log, maybe that's the title of the event. You're going to attach it to a course calendar. So I'm going to attach it to, oh, it's not letting me submit this. Okay. Oh, I know why. I know why. I'm adding it to a course I'm a student in, not a teacher in. Okay. There we go. Okay. So submit reading quiz, submit reading log. There it is. It's on this calendar. Now when I click submit, I can come back to this, edit it, and I can click the more options button. And this lets me choose like a recurrence. I thought I did. There we go. Nope. Yeah, I 100% acknowledge that it's not super great for that kind of stuff, full stop. Because it's looking for a due date. It's not necessarily like events are more one-off events. I know if you have a recurring Zoom meeting, it will do that, but they're not super great to replicate. And yeah, so this is really a way to view assignment due dates, not necessarily create events. It's good for one-off events. It's not good for recurring things. It doesn't act the same way as a calendar would in general, like a Google Calendar. It's not the same. So, and that's another thing. Like I reference this in the slide deck, but you can add this calendar, the Canvas calendar, to a calendar feed, like your Google Calendar, your iCalendar, and your iPhone. But it doesn't. It's a one-way thing, so you can't import other things into this calendar. It's a export only. So. And again, those directions are in the slide deck here. So on how to do that. And that's useful maybe for parents more than anything. So I will also just give a quick tip that everything is easy to move around, right? Again, that's Jeff, come on, you're a student, of course, you can't move things. So let's say this right here, you can easily move things around by clicking and dragging. So let's say you need to change the due date of this assignment and you didn't want to do it from the assignment settings. I can just take it and move it a day over, and it automatically changes the due date on the assignment for students that you've done here for the calendar. So that's a nice little quick tip for using the calendar like that. All right, let's jump into just a quick kind of hash about some best practices here. You can add assignment shells directly to the calendar. So if you're thinking of a high level planning for a whole unit and you want to add like, well, on this Friday, I want a quiz, you can do that directly from here. So let's say right here, I wanted to add an assignment and it's going to be our Friday quiz. It's due Friday the 22nd. It's attached to that course. You can even decide the assignment group. If you wanted to publish it immediately, go for it. But when you hit submit, now when I click on this, I can go into the actual course and create the rest of the assignment, right? So it's just the shell of the assignment. It's not all the details, but I know some people like planning out kind of a week at a time or a month at a time. So that's one way to do that, is to create the assignment shells here. There is the duplicate calendar events support guide, and there's an appointment scheduler that you can use as well. I know some teachers picked up on this because I offered some one-on-one sessions, some support sessions through Canvas. And when you go to the plus button, one of the options you have as a teacher is an appointment group. And I'm not going to go into all of the details of this because the support guide is linked there, but you can offer kind of like virtual check-ins or office hours with students. And this is probably best for secondary teachers potentially, or groups of students, right? Because you can say, you know, three people can sign up for this time slot or whatever. And that's an option. You just in the details would put the Zoom link that you want to use, and then students can sign up for those on the calendar. So, and again, both of those, all of that information, there's the student sign up process and there's how you as a teacher create appointment groups. So those are all in the, what am I trying to say, in the slide deck here. All right, the last piece I'll talk about is the to-do list, and I'll show you what this looks like as a student. When you, sorry, you know me, going between all these screens. When you're on your dashboard, on the right-hand side, you have a what's called a to-do list, and I don't have anything to do because I have nothing due right now. But let me switch my screens and see if I have something over there, because I bet I do. Yeah. So you and students have this to-do list on your dashboard when logging in, and most of the time it's going to be like an assignment to turn in, but for teachers, it could be a grade thing. So like this is saying grade that, and it shows how many submissions there are. If I click on that, I go right to SpeedGrader, I can grade those assignments. For students, one of the things that you can do, and I'll say this generally speaking, again, they have one as well that will show them turn in this, complete that, etc. You can also use that to draw their attention to a page or a discussion. And this is called adding something to the to-do list. And I'll show you quickly what that looks like. I do say use this sparingly because there's no accountability attached to that. You can't like verify that they've done it because it basically just is one more way they're notified that something's important. So for example, I'll use pages as an example. Let's say I build a page that's like reminders for week of whatever. And I put some information in here. One of the things at the very bottom down here under options on a page is add to student to do. If you do that and you specify a day and time you'd like them to do that by, basically, what happens is they get a, when they are on their course homepage, on their coming up and on their to-do list, it would just have a link to that page. So it calls out that page to their attention. But again, it's basically a way to give it a due date, sort of, but not really, because again, there's no way you can track that, whether they've looked at that or seen that. So know that it can be done that way, but I say to use it sparingly because there's no accountability attached to it. So, all right, we have so much more to do. So again, skipping the practice to do stuff right now, and we'll get right into the inbox. Any questions about the calendar otherwise before we move on?
Yeah, we've had a couple of questions. The appointment sign up, can that be utilized for parents to sign up for parent conferences?
Oh, that's a great question.
So parents are observers in Canvas. they can look but not touch. It's like seeing the Mona Lisa. They can go and they can look at it, but they can't do anything. So I'm going to say that
I say no.
probably
Yeah.
not for sign up, but they could sign up via their child. You could have them, the child's name, sign up for the parent conference.
Yep.
So they could do that.
Yeah, because
And then the other question that I saw was about pre-K students. Pre-K students should have, whether they're at their home school or at a school that is where they're coming from all different areas, they have accounts. And so whoever is sectioned to you, what was in Oasis and now will be in Synergy, whoever is sectioned to you will show up in your course.
Awesome. Okay. Let's jump into
Parents,
inbox.
did we miss anything?
Yeah. One question. Is Canvas completely compatible with iPads, or are there certain restrictions? Because someone mentioned they're at a school with iPads.
Yeah, so Canvas is a browser-based platform, right? So it works in Safari. I'll speak on an iPad. It works in Safari. There is a Canvas student app. There is a Canvas teacher app that's on the iOS store, the App Store. There are certain things on the app that work much better on the browser, meaning in Safari. So, but yes, full functionality on the Canvas student app. And I'll just do a quick plug for, there's a course in the Canvas training portal that was just released. It's the mobile experience on the teacher side and mobile experience on the student side. So there's a whole series of videos and resources for you as a teacher teaching students that use the app version. So, but it works just as well. So, all right. So inbox. I guess the biggest takeaway about the inbox is a messaging tool. It's not an email service. So keep that in mind. I think there was a lot of confusion that, like, I've heard in the spring teachers being like, but I emailed them. I'm like, no, you messaged your students and it generated or did not generate an email notification to their email. So that goes back to the notification preferences. One of the notification preferences that everyone needs to set and check is it's under conversations, and it's this conversation message. If that is turned off, students or parents will never get a notification that there's an inbox message waiting for them. So that is one that should be turned on immediately, this conversation message in general. And I think it's turned on by default to this daily summary. I think that's the default one, but I would just do it immediately, because an inbox message would generate an email with the contents of the inbox message. So keep that in mind when you set up expectations with your students and parents. When you are in your inbox, it's pretty intuitive, much like an email system, right? You're over here, you're gonna click the compose a new message here. It is course-based, so I can't just type in a user's name and email and message them directly. It is tied to a course. So, for example, if I'm here in, here, we'll use the Classroom Resource Center. I select a course, and then over here, I use this little address button, and I can pick who I want to send the message to. Do I want to send it to every single person in this course, all 4,544? No. Do I want to send it to, I can expand the students. I can choose a specific student. I can choose groups of students, right? I can choose sections. If I'm a secondary teacher and I just want to message my first period class. But that all comes from this little address icon. You choose who you want to send messages to. Just like an email, type in a subject, type in the field of the message down here. You can attach things. You can use the built-in media recorder and send a video message if you wanted to do it that way. It's all pretty standard there. These two things are actually include observers and remove students are really great if you want to, like, again, if I'm just messaging all my observers. but I want to remove their students, it will basically just pull the observers and just include them in there. And you can, it's always probably best practice to choose the send an individual message piece recipient so that there's not like this reply all thing happening and things like that. So, so yeah, it's pretty intuitive. There's been some questions I know I've fielded before about where am I sent things. If you come up here to all courses and you select sent or archived or things like that. So all of those are here, unread messages, things like that. It's pretty much there. So, so that's the inbox.
Can you copy and paste images into a message in?
I think so. Let's try. Let's see. I'm pretty sure you can. Here's an image.
Also, while you're doing that, they also wanted to know: is there a way to translate that into other languages, or did they have to kind of go to Google first, or what are your suggestions for that?
Yeah. So definitely. So you cannot copy and paste an image. It has to be as an attachment. So there's the answer to that. And then yeah, the translate. There is no built-in translator to Canvas, so they would have to rely on Google Translate or things like that. So.
And I'm going to go ahead and put in a shameless plug for if you need to have something translated, then you should communicate via Synergy, because Synergy, whatever is selected as the home language, when the student is registered, whatever is selected as the home language, communications when emailed will be translated. They'll see the English and the translation. They can respond in the translation and you'll see the translation and the English. Now, it is a Google Translate type situation, so it might not be exact, but if you need communication to be translated, you would be better to communicate via Synergy, where they can dial down into Canvas from Synergy. So they would be able to get in and see the assignment you're referring to. But if you need the translation, you can also do that.
Yep. Thank you. All right, let's talk probably the biggest application of the inbox. I think the best way to use it is the message students who function. And I talked about this in previous sessions, so let's demo it now. And again, this is all documented here, support guide, screenshot. I'm gonna go to a course where I know there's a way I can use the inbox to kind of nudge those students who haven't done anything, right? So this is through the grades tab. So I'm a teacher, click on grades. And let's use this example right here. This is a quiz right here that I see that Jeff has submitted, but that Elise has not submitted, because that's what that red dash means. So I want to message her and maybe her observer, her parent or her guardian, if they have an account in Canvas, and just be like, hey, you should submit this because it was due last week or whatever. So from grades here, so again, we're on the grades part of our course. I'm gonna go to the assignment in question and then click on the 3 dots next to that assignment name or quiz name or discussion name. And I'm gonna click the message students who feature. And what happens is it defaults to those who have not submitted yet, and it already fills in the subject line for you. And this is where I can say, hey, you should turn that in. Okay, or something much more professional than that. I can decide if I want observers to be paired or not. That's up to you. I don't think Elise has an observer, but that's okay. And then I'm going to click send message. And what happens is, voila, she's going to get a message and her parent is going to get a message that there's a quiz they've not turned into. The nice thing about that is the link to the assignment or quiz in question is right within that inbox. So that parent can go right to that inbox or that assignment, or that student can as well, and complete or submit the assignment. So that's a great time saver. And you can also do that not just for those who have missed submitting something, but also maybe there are some that have scored less than 50% or whatever, whatever. And you can message those students as well. So great time saver, and it's going to pull those for you and email it right from there. Sorry, message it, and use those terms correctly. They will get an email, but notification, but it is a message. Okay.
People asked about, will the users already be in there. So the connection, one huge benefit of working in my MCPS classroom is that your courses are automated by the sectioning of your classes. So when you open up, if you're a biology teacher, wink, wink to my friend in the audience. If you're actually she's a physics teacher or something, but if you're a physics teacher and you open up your course, your students are all in there by period. And if the parents have already created their parent portal account, they're attached to their student. So you don't have to go farming for parent email addresses and all of that stuff. It is in there it's centrally rostered.
Yeah, and that will continue with Synergy. So it was Oasis and Pinnacle earlier, now it will be Synergy. So all right, so that's a lot. And I definitely want to get to this next part because that was the part about, I think, the questions about Google Classroom and feedback there. So I created this kind of workflow system visual here. I'm a visual person and I need something super clear for me. So this is, like I said, when you get the slide deck, you can read the support guides that I've attached here because they're the specific things I'm about to show you and demo. So here's the general workflow. Student submits an assignment, teacher provides feedback, student gets that feedback, reviews it. And again, if you have it where it's set up where they can resubmit or it's a drafting process, they would just follow the same process back and forth. What is different between Canvas and Google Classroom, especially when it comes to a Google Doc, a Google Docs cloud assignment, which we'll get into in the assessments session, which I encourage you all to come to. I think the first one is tomorrow. What's different is it's a static representation of what the student knows at that moment, meaning when they submit something, you do not have live access to their doc and can edit with them and collaborate with them, because Canvas treats it more like, well, if it's their submission, then it should be a static version of what they know. And if you allow multiple attempts, then it's a drafting process and things like that. So it's a different workflow, I think, than many teachers are used to, but I think it's a more deep, kind of robust feedback process. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So one of the things to keep in mind when students are given an assignment to complete, they always have a blue button to submit their assignment, just like you have a blue button to create something. And then depending on the assignment type that you have set up, which again, we go into in the assessments offering, students will have various tabs that they can attach work to. So if you've allowed them to upload a file, they could go here. If it's a text entry, they get a box that's the rich content editor basically, and they can add stuff there. If it's a Google Doc you want them to submit, when they click on this Google Doc tab, it actually takes them to their Google Drive and they can just attach a file that way, and so forth and so on. So all of those resources for students and submissions and things like that are here. And then there's a video link as well that shows you from a student's perspective how to turn things in Canvas. So I just talk about this super high level because there's a lot of great resources embedded within this slide deck here. This is a cool feature. I think it's kind of nice. It's kind of low-hanging fruit, but when a student submits an assignment on time, they actually get this on-time confetti that pops on the screen. And I don't have an assignment to show that, but I'll show you what it looks like. Here it is. So when they submit an assignment on time, there's magic confetti that appears on the screen. And that's really dumb, but talk about like student engagement and just smiling. It just puts a smile on a kid's face. So on-time submissions get that confetti to happen there, which is kind of cool. Okay, back to this. Okay, so students submitted something. What do you see as a teacher? Let's actually go demo this piece here. So in a course where I've had a student submission, if I go to my dashboard, I see over here, I need to grade this main idea assignment in this course right here. If I click right there, it's gonna take me right to SpeedGrader. And SpeedGrader, think of that as, again, that's the tool, just like it says, to grade assignments quickly. I can toggle between my students right here. I only have 3 students here. For the student that has the orange circle, that means there's a submission that has not been graded. So I can click on that kid immediately. I can see their submission. I can use in the built-in annotation tool that's built into SpeedGrader here. So maybe I want to highlight something, and maybe I want to add a comment that says something like, this isn't great, or something. I don't know. I'm not, use those things. I can give a score right here. I can add assignment level comments down here. I can also do assignment level comments with a media comment tool, meaning a video comment. This is all SpeedGrader, basically, that comment workflow. So let's go to the student side and see what that looks like. So I just gave feedback to the main idea assignment for this kid, which is me. Let me go to my dashboard. On my recent feedback over here, I can scroll down and see, let me go to that course because that's going to be easier. I'm going to go into my course right here. It's because it's already been graded, but there it is right there. That's not correct. Did I actually submit? Hold on. Let me add a new comment. Put myself on 12. Hit submit. Amazing. Okay.
It's really fun when you grade your own work.
Oh, always. There we go. Okay, so as a student, they get a course level notification here. It's also on their dashboard. If I go to my dashboard, right at the top, main idea assignment, 12 out of 10, amazing. I click on it. It can go right to the assignment here. I see I've attempted it 11 times. There's what I submitted. I'm gonna click view feedback. And now it opens up that view of that static comments that my teacher left me. And I can see those in my view here. I can see their overall comments, but I can also see all their annotations they made within the actual feedback. That is the process for a Google Docs Cloud assignment. The copy feature that you're used to in Google Classroom, it's the same idea, same process. They view feedback that way. It's static feedback. It's not a live commenting on the Google Doc. So yeah, so that's the general process for that. Go through, what do students show? I just showed that. And then same idea again, what do students see with the Google Docs Cloud assignment? It's the same idea. They have to click this view feedback. They don't see the live version of the Google Doc with your comments on it. So, okay, summing it up, SpeedGrader is the best friend ever for feedback. Again, Google Docs Cloud assignment and feedback with that is static, not live and dynamic like users are used to in a live Google Doc. You can allow multiple assignment submissions for students. There's a support guide there talking about how to turn that feature on and how to allow multiple attempts on an assignment. And then again, I reinforce to keep the grades link visible to students in your course navigation because that's how they see any feedback or assignment feedback that you give them. So yeah, that's a lot. And it's a lot and we're way over time. And last plug before the attendance and stuff, CanvasCon is a virtual event, free PD for anybody using Canvas across the world. It's in October this year. It's usually an in-person event, and because of the pandemic, it was canceled and pushed to the fall for a one-day free event. And totally hope everybody can go. Registration link is in the slide deck. So 3 things for you: attendance link for today's session, evaluation, and then a Canvas evaluation for me personally. If you want to give feedback to my managers, good, bad, or the other, you could fill out both. So one is for MCPS, one is for instructor. So, and then there's the slide deck again for you. So hopefully this is helpful. This is a lot. I know, I think Katie would echo this. Give yourself time to kind of learn this, and don't think you need to be an expert tomorrow. No one's an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning all the things, and yeah, it'll be okay. Everything's gonna be great. So,
yeah, I would definitely echo that statement. I will also say that this is has been recorded, and we will post that where you found your join link in that document. That's where the links for the recordings will be. And this session is going to be offered throughout the summer, along with all the other Canvas related sessions, all the synergy sessions, and all the other ones like Kami. I saw some things about Kami and screencasting and all that kind of stuff. All of these sessions, they started yesterday and they go all the way up until the week of August 20th. And so pace yourself. You don't have to attend every single session in this week. You have all summer. Pace yourself, practice, play. You should have a course in there that you can play in. If your staff development teacher can't do it, or somebody at your school can't do it, each school has a me. Each school has somebody that supports them, and I'll put that in the that bit.ly in the chat, and that is bit.ly/who is my capital TIS. That will tell you who your specialist is, so you can reach out to them. We thank you for attending, and there's so much, and I think you are all going to find that there's just so much value. So much value.
And one other thing I'll plug, because it's a 2 o'clock session, there are open forum sessions twice a week, sometimes 3, that are just general. So like if you saw something today and you're like, I kind of want follow-up about that, we're gonna take those kind of topically based on needs, and those are all throughout the session summer as well. So that's a great time to be like, oh, maybe next week I'll join an open forum session just to get this one question I have, or to see it again. Those are very much based on the participants' needs that attend the sessions. So anyway.
Okay, with that, we are going to sign off. Hopefully you got the bit.ly, bit.ly/Canvas communication 20 will get you today's presentation with all the links and all the goodies. So thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in all the other trainings. Have a good afternoon.
Bye, everyone.